Beyonce for sure. I love her. Like I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
What's confusing is all of those things that you just said are also included in the racketeering count.
So we don't know what the vote is.
So we don't know what the vote is. It's hard to read what they...
Another dazzling evening was about to take place in New York City. During the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards after-party, all of the noteworthy A-list celebrities moved among velvet-roped rooms. With bubbly flutes in hand and rehearsed smiles, secrets are concealed. But between the clandestine guest lists and flashing cameras, there was an alleged encounter that would remain unknown for over 25 years.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both.
The entertainment industry has been horrified by court documents that reveal that an unidentified complainant alleges that at the age of 13, a limousine driver told her she was the type of person Diddy was looking for and promised her a taste of the exclusive world of celebrities. The story then plunges into a terrible region. She says Sean Jay-Z Carter and Sean Diddy Combs arrived through a closed door after a drink that tipped the room and an NDA she thought was a requirement for entry. The charges depict a sad scene in which one man watches while the other takes action. There was a familiar female face, but she said nothing, and the wild escape ended at a gas station phone booth. Attorney Tony Busby is only using the allegations as a means of extortion, according to Jay-Z, who has termed them ridiculous. A demand letter, he claimed, was an attempt to exploit the nature of the claim and force a settlement is all that it is. Instead of handing out a single red penny, he publicly declared, "No, sir, it had the opposite effect," vowing to expose the other side. However, BB has responded with equal vigor, calling the extortion claim a ruse and asserting that his client never asked for money. It is a startling encounter between two contradictory realities for those of us watching, and not only between the accused and the accuser. On the one hand, there is the image of the billionaire mogul who has built an empire via resourcefulness and public attractiveness. Conversely, one of the most notorious musical artists is linked to a shadow of alleged predatory behavior.
Beyonce.
Gorgeous, a stab to my self-esteem.
The optics have just made the strain greater. Within days of his name being officially added to the case, Jay-Z was seen holding hands with Beyonce and their daughter Blue Ivy as they walked the red carpet at the LA premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King. It seemed to onlookers like a family gathering. On social media, it was viewed as provocative. An individual who is suspected of committing one of the most horrible atrocities entered the spotlight as if nothing had happened. That was all that was necessary for 50 Cent's debut. Jay said they said, "I'm a kid, everyone puts on their clothes," the long-standing enemy said in a statement full of mockery. "We'll go to Mufasa." Fascinating. And then quickly taking it off. As the legal titans, Diddy and Jay-Z have been continuously ridiculed by 50. And this was just the latest in a series of snarky comments.
There's different things that's not really beef though, that's just competitive.
Competitiveness. All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
Okay, damn, all right.
And here's some background. There is a decades-long connection between the two moguls cited in this complaint. Early partnerships, concurrent ascents in the New York rap scene of the 1990s, songs that were featured in each other's repertoire, and intersecting commercial empires. However, a flood of claims of trafficking, coercion, violent encounters, and a series of lawsuits from both men and women detailing lavish freak-off parties have been causing Diddy's empire to fall apart. Denied bail, he is currently in jail with all the unsettling accoutrements you would expect from a whispering industry legend alleged to have operated a criminal operation. Because Jay-Z has, at least officially, maintained a spotless record. The abrupt association of his name with the most sinister chapter in Diddy's story feels like a cultural earthquake. Another source of unease is the manner in which long-standing rumors have been dispelled and brought into the here and now. Experts in the field recall the mid-2000s, when Rihanna signed with Def Jam as a teenager after arriving in New York. From Barbados, sitting across the table from Jay-Z at the age of 15, she had just taken off her school uniform. The president of the label then spent the rest of the night in meetings behind closed doors. People in her immediate vicinity have spoken in whispers about the strain, the intimacy, and the potential blurring of boundaries. Nothing on paper, no legal action, but the implication of a shadowy aspect of mentoring that has changed in interpretation in the wake of these new charges. There is an unsettling pattern emerging in the story. Young, defenseless arrivals with little defense living close to enormous power.
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got his ass. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
Our reports state that Bianca is determined to confront the crisis head-on. People close to the couple say she works with crisis managers who say they don't avoid the cameras or the questions. These insiders assert that Blue Ivy is publicly showing solidarity with her father and is conscious enough to understand that he is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. But in private, there are whispers that the tension is beginning to ease. Carter's stronghold. There are late-night arguments, contingency plans, and a possibility that no fan ever thought was real. According to an insider, a well-planned, discreet divorce that is executed with the same level of care that they have given to every brand decision they have made during their careers.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry's filled with gangsters.
A scenario that appears almost unthinkable given their combined billion-dollar wealth, song collections, commercial ventures, real estate, and the cultural currency of being America's top music duet. However, the question has not been resolved. How much upheaval can even the most sturdy brands endure before the foundation collapses? The sustained rumors, the ongoing attacks from rivals, and the legal measures are not isolated events. A hurricane is forming, and those are its fronts. And when more early hip-hop elites feel safe speaking up, it feels like we're just scratching the surface. But beneath that, perhaps lie darker realities that are just waiting to be exposed.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand.
Recent reports of a blackmail web, a murky network of power and silence, are becoming more prevalent. This could help to explain why some of the biggest names in music have stayed out of the spotlight for decades. Numerous insiders claim that Diddy kept a physical and digital vault filled with recordings, including shaky video from rooftop parties, high-definition footage from lavish suites, and phone calls that were improperly taped. There are circumstances we're talking about that no publicist could create and no brand contract could survive. The idea was that these were not souvenirs, but bargaining chips, a private arsenal to keep some enemies at bay and some allies close. If the cassettes exist, what's on them? Was Jay-Z exposed as working for a subversive company? Perhaps in conversations that might be used as evidence in court. Is his carefully maintained image going to crumble? The potential power of such information is unthinkable, especially in an industry where loyalty is often rewarded with a price. Previously, federal agents have confiscated servers, hard drives, and a list of equipment from Diddy's homes. Years of encrypted data are reportedly being searched by the FBI. When we consider how many of the people who drank in those rooms went on to become titans in the entertainment, sports, and political spheres, the scale becomes even more clear. This goes beyond a single man's alleged misconduct. There is concern about whether a portion of the celebrity elite has been captured by the dread of publicity.
He is a serial woman abuser, the likes of which we haven't seen in modern America, at least not on the public stage in this way. He is a repeated serial abuser. He beat those women to a pulp and didn't even deny it. He didn't deny it. They admitted expressly domestic abuse over and over and over again, something the judge used against them when they pled for.
Rumors circulated among former workers that some people would get surprise late-night calls from blocked numbers, reminding them in vague but icy terms of evenings they didn't want to relive. It makes sense that some reputations have held up well against the bad press if such tactics were indeed in place. In the middle of this gathering storm, 50 Cent is also acting less like a sideline heckler and more like a man on a mission. Information that no one else will publish has been his way of nudging the bear for years. This individual has been publicly mocking Diddy and Jay-Z since the early 2000s, but in recent years, his taunts have come across as cunning, almost like bait. As he posted the AI-generated arrest video, he showed the two men being escorted out of a lavish celebration to the sound of cops on foot. It was not just trolling. The art form was performance art with a message. Indeed, he took it down, but not before it received a lot of views and raised suspicions that he may have seen or heard things that the rest of us haven't.
This guy
50's not to be.
No, don't.
50's to be.
Fifth, y'all don't even. Fifth is
Play around if you want to.
Fifth is different.
And he's on tour.
Analyze the pattern. When the Super Bowl broadcasts are cancelled, he jokes about it. There are videos of parties that he refuses to attend because, in his view, you don't understand what these events are about. Within hours after the attacks on the mansion, he was on the scene, uploading screenshots to the internet with captions that say, "Now it's not dirty. Do it. Don't do it," suggesting that they don't arrive that way until they have a case. Social media chit-chat isn't what this is. It's the rhythm of a person who seems to know the beat of the investigation before the rest of the world. Can you imagine if 50 involves sources? Even former workers of the persons in question, maybe? Is he a skilled provocateur, or does he just write the biggest hip-hop scandal for its glory?
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
Reports indicate that Bianca is facing much more than a novelty. An ongoing undercurrent of concern is described by family members as she balances her responsibilities globally while navigating an emotional minefield in private. Reports indicate that she is highly vigilant because of the ongoing onslaught of accusations, aware that any slip-up or poorly timed public speech could trigger a fresh round of inquiry. The control and authority over narrative, messaging, and image is the foundation of this woman's entire brand. The fact that her husband's name is linked to one of the most disgusting in the history of scandals in modern music. Blue Ivy, on the other hand, has been abruptly thrust into the public eye. Perhaps what began as occasional, carefully orchestrated public appearances has developed into a regular role as the visible symbol of family unity. She's examined for signs of tension, or practiced perfection in every close-up of her gripping her parents' hands and every red carpet walk. Some see her attendance as proof of unbroken bonds, while others think it's a calculated move by seasoned crisis managers to project a sense of solidarity resilient enough to withstand the storm.
They needed to show that there was an agreement, that the organization knew what it was doing, that it was an enterprise, not in law, but in fact, that people understood the object of the enterprise, which was to promote Sean Combs and his brands and sort of fulfill any deviant desires he may have had, and then to cover up any crimes committed over the course of fulfilling those desires.
The pictures have unquestionable force. As a subtle denial of the spreading charges, each image of the three of them together conveys stability and power. But it's still unclear whether these appearances are real moments of connection or if they're a part of a strategy to sway public opinion. Insiders say every excursion is rigorously organized. The Carter brand's resilience is meant to be reinforced by every detail, from the choice of setting to the photographer's observations of body language. There are rumors that Bianca's marriage is deteriorating behind the scenes. She and Jay-Z are life and business partners who have combined their public personas, artistic endeavors, and financial resources for years. Additionally, these same relationships could now be a source of overwhelming strain that nearly makes it impossible to discern between one's own emotions and one's obligations to society. In this setting, the constant, grinding weight of ongoing tragedy, rather than acrimonious arguments, can quietly undermine faith. In ways that most adults may never comprehend, the event may be affecting Blue Ivy's view of celebrity. She learns, early on that maintaining one's reputation is just as crucial to becoming a celebrity as having talent, as she watches her parents navigate a hostile media landscape. If she emerges from this experience with a hardened resilience or with permanent wounds, it will depend on what the public never sees. Stunning lighting and private times away from the stage at home. The best measure of how deeply this catastrophe has affected the Carter family may ultimately be found in these little-known facts.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
Several people in the industry believe he might be positioning himself for long-term success. Did It, his esteemed Netflix documentary, is still in development and promises to offer authentic and nuanced perspectives while hinting at the potential for hitherto unheard-of experiences. If he fulfills the hint he is giving, that project might become the definitive public record of this era and potentially ruin careers. The fact that Jay-Z's name has now been added to the narrative that the 50s have been working on for a few months is apparent to everyone. A little too convenient for a coincidence, it appears. We add another level of intent when we take into account that 50 has said that the money he received from his doctor will be utilized to assist the victims. He isn't just throwing shade, is presenting himself as an avenger and perhaps a teller of the truth. What if the most startling findings, though, haven't even been made yet? The raids by the FBI produced a beautiful haul. There have been reports of devices that may hold over 1,000 bottles of party supplies, documents connected to offshore accounts, and years' worth of encrypted communications between some of the biggest personalities in entertainment. If even a tiny bit of it connects Diddy, Jay-Z, and other untouchables, we might be facing a reckoning that doesn't just change careers but the culture itself. Imagine the repercussions if the alleged recordings turn out to be cover-ups or bribes, meant to hide articles before they reach the front page. From every direction, pressure is increasing. The legal teams are working fast. The difficulty of reaching witnesses quickly increases. There's also a lot of conversation going on. Every time there is a new filing or piece of testimony that is made public, social media goes crazy. Additionally, in that noise, we keep returning to the same questions. What has been kept under wraps for 2 decades if this much has come to light in just a few months? Who else knew? Did anyone else continue to remain silent? What is the upward extension of the chain of protection?
You'll say allegedly has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
Or watching a show where the protagonists have successfully managed their company, their reputation, and their narrative for many years, and now that control is being undermined. Every expedition is followed with great attention, every old photo is re-examined, and every casual comment is taken as a clue. They are concerned that once the dam breaks, you won't be able to stop whatever secrets find their way out. The rest of us wonder if the men who built empires through mystery and power can survive without the shadows they have always operated in. Therefore, if the worst-case scenario is true and those tapes and files are as damaging as insiders claim, we're not just discussing personal disputes. We're talking about an electrical system that was well-planned going down. This kind of network has impacted musical selections, award shows, record deals, and political fundraising. If we tug on a single thread, the entire thing could unravel in ways we haven't yet considered. It will be more than just names and names if that happens. A lot of money is on the line. There may be an end to an era. This is the question that we cannot ignore, therefore. Does a rich dynasty have an end in sight? Or is this just a prelude to the terrible facts being revealed? Please feel free to comment below with your thoughts, and we'll be right here to break it down with you when the next wave hits. On the other hand, stay vigilant, stay curious, and remember that the biggest scandals never make the agenda.